All right, we are live on Facebook. I am so excited. I have missed you all. Last week we had technical difficulties, so we weren't able to live stream, but we got it all worked out and we're back in action this week. My name is Monica Henderson, and I am the founder and creator of MinkLife Motivation. And I am so excited to be back with you on this Monday. Mondays are my favorite day of the week. I know people kind of are ready to party on Fridays, but I'm ready to get it in on Mondays. So I'm so excited to share with you guys what we have in store for your show today. And let's get this party started. And as we are diving into getting this party started, I wanted to share with you our mission at MinkLife Motivation is to change lives and grow businesses by using the MinkLife Motivation training system, allowing every person to live healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilled. We pair subject matter experts and our licensed trainers to help you get the best out of your life and business by doing personal, business, brand, and network development. Every week we come together right here live on Facebook to help you get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge so that you, all of you, can live a life that is designed by you, for you, healthier, wealthier, and fulfilled. So let's get it in today. This week on MinkLife Motivation Live, we are going to cover, of our 4 topics, what do you need to have in place to keep your team employed? Guess what time? It's time to maximize your business. And we're going to do that by looking at how to leverage humans as resources. This topic today is really coming from our Business Maximizer. And this is one of the 4 modules that we cover, where we look at the 6 key factors of your business. And that is leadership, business processes, customer service, human resources, products and services, and of course, your market blueprint. Time to get motivated. I'm excited. It's going to be a very interesting show for you today. And we're going to go over our theme of the month, which is coming from our Power of 6. And that is your 6 basic rights. Number 2, you have the right to build authentic relationships. Be smart enough to ask for help. Be wise enough to choose an expert. And today, to dive in, we're going to have 2 of my favorite people, people who I have built strong, authentic relationships with, but who are also our panel of professional support experts this week. We are going to talk to Marcia McCray, who is the principal at the Brand Naked Agency and the author of The Busy Entrepreneur's Guide, and also a MinkLife Motivation licensed trainer. And we have Andrea Gewirtz, and she is a wellness thrive strategist with well-being and worth, and a MinkLife Motivator master trainer. Ladies, we are going to discuss today, or I want to ask you this question. Why is having strong, authentic relationships important when building a team of experts? So let's start with, I'm going to start with Andrea today, because we're laughing, guys, because I have for years been pronouncing her name completely wrong, and she just lets me do it. And so I'm making fun of myself. Her name is Andrea, but I call her Andrea because it's so sophisticated. So Andrea, how is building these strong, authentic relationships beneficial when you're building your team of experts to support your business?
Well, I like to say in the wellness world, you are the sum of your parts. So, those relationships are going to be the foundation, the bedrock of hopefully sound counsel and able-bodied people to help you achieve what you want. And because there's reciprocity, you do the same thing back. And so that's what those mutually beneficial relationships mean to me. So I endeavor to always have them. And if I'm meeting a stranger for the first time, really connecting and making sure we have that kind of alignment, and they know that they're going to get from me the best of me in that relationship. So when you're building your team, you definitely start that from the beginning. You engage with them. Like every interaction is you setting up that mutually respectful environment. So that's my initial blush on this. I'm sure Marcia will add more. And I do like
Marcia.
Andrea and Andrea both. And so I listened. Hilarious. I can't believe you went there this morning, but okay. Anyway.
Hey, I believe in living in authenticity and truth.
Exactly.
And
That's
that
right.
is my truth, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so Marcia, what about you? What
So I come from the place of the 4 E's: to encourage, to empower, to enlighten, and enhance. So having that authentic relationship with your people, your team members, is imperative, because they're the ones that are bringing the vision to life for you. They're helping you to bring the vision to life. And having that trust is so major. Like Andrea said, it's like a reciprocal, I sometimes get that word mixed up, but it's a reciprocal relationship. It's not just them giving you and your business or your company. It's about you giving them as well, so that they can do better in their lives, so that they can improve their lives and their businesses, if they have businesses on the side or whatever. So.
Yeah, I want to tell a little secret. So one of the things that I do when I'm working with my team of experts, which two of these two who are on with me are a part of my team of experts, but I always think when I'm seeing a slow in kind of like energy towards my project, I kind of reflect on myself and think, okay, am I still mutually benefiting them as well, as my go-to to marker to make sure that it is reciprocal? Because sometimes we can get a little bit about ourselves and our project and our thing, and we forget about what is happening on the other person's side. And so I find when I do that, I can keep the momentum moving forward of building that strong connection with my team, and also making sure that they're being successful as well. Because at MinkLife Motivation, in our company culture, we say my success is your success. If you're not successful, then I'm not successful. And so really kind of working through that concept of we both have to win in this, otherwise no one wins, is really super important. So with that, my next question is, it's time for us to stay inspired. And normally we have an entrepreneurial journey here, but it's just the three of us today. So I'm gonna, let us let our hair down a little bit. Well, I don't have a whole lot of hair to let down.
I don't either.
Neither does Marcia, right? But I think we are kind of always on the show, and we're always listening to one of our affiliates, the people that we like, know, and trust, and have attached to MinkLife Motivation as a referral source for our clients, their entrepreneurial journeys and what kept them inspired. But I am going to turn the tables on us today, and I'm going to ask each of you, what are some things you do to help yourself stay encouraged, and keep moving forward? Because as y'all know, motivate, inspire, network, knowledge is what we're about. And it's one of the things that we kind of talk about in the program. We talk about, books and podcasts and movies and just different things that kind of keep you inspired. So I wanted to start with Marcia this time. What things keep you inspired?
Having a personal life. Woo! Seriously, trying to keep like a work-life harmony, because like as I've discussed before, I've always been like workaholic. It's all about work. But then like going through the principles program, commercial from MinkLife Motivation, LLC. But no, seriously, no, Monica did not put me up to that. But I have to say that helped change my life, honestly. Going through that life calibrator, especially because that helped me to put things in perspective. And like, as far as activities and things, just things that matter to me other than just work. That's what has helped me to stay inspired. Also, I'm going to be like the geek. Remember, if I could, I would put that little emoji with the little buck teeth with the glasses, the little genius, like, you know, I would put him there, right? And I would say that learning, I love learning and constantly just freshening up my arsenal of tools. Those are the things that keep me really inspired. And of course, my lovely friends. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, Andrea, what about you?
Oh, this is the cut up day, isn't it? So, I am going to say the exact same thing. Staying inspired means staying in harmony with my personal life, with my friends and my family. I like to work. And sometimes, though, me liking to work and me being normal with everybody else is incompatible. So I have to really actively engage to remember it's okay to like take the day off. It'll still be there. The work will still be there. And to Marcia's point of just doing something that will enrich my other neurons in my body, like getting sun on my body because of the recent fires. And I didn't realize how much when I get up and take a break and I just run around the block or get some vitamin D on my skin, how important that was. And when that was taken away, my friends here can tell you that I was a really distraught human. That I had no sense of it until it was gone. How much that little bit of physical activity and those things really were keeping me in the zone to produce during this time of quarantine. So that, and of course, like the learning, like taking the time to do something you haven't done before because you get into a rut of doing the things you always do. So Marcia and I, fun fact, you guys are going to hear it here first. So on my anniversary, we couldn't go outside, right? It was terrible weather. So I repotted orchids. I didn't know anything about that. So I spent the whole day learning how to repot orchids. And I went to the store and I did all these things. And that's how I spent my anniversary. And I had such a good time. My husband and I were both like, well, this is, and I know that sounds so weird. And what's the nerdy buck teeth guy? Like I was laughing 22 years of marriage and this is what we're doing today. It was really a special time. And it was so good for everything that came after it. I was resourced. I had amplified my resources and replenished my happiness factor, my joy factor, my curiosity factor, because one of the things about being an entrepreneur is staying curious. So you're always delivering content or you're always delivering like something that your audience needs and seeks. And so I know how to pot orchids. It'll be part of one of my shows.
Yeah. Love it.
That's hilarious. So for myself, what is interesting is, so I too am a nerd, but I'm a nerd in a different kind of a way. I enjoy creating PowerPoints. I know.
It's true.
It's so true.
But when I have to think through a process, and I can put some pretty colored words on a slide and make it animated and move around, it kind of keeps me inspired to keep going. So I always volunteer. I always volunteer for my friends and the team, like, hey, you need a PowerPoint made? Because it's like a coloring book for me. So it's one of the things that I do. And they're laughing really hard at me right now because it's 100% accurate.
It's 100%.
Yes, it is.
We're going to interject.
1,000%
interested. She's like, we know she's trying to quote waste time. It's not really a waste of time. She's like, don't you have a PowerPoint you need to work on?
Yeah.
Like I can look at it for you. And we're like, okay. Because she's ingenious when it comes to that. And it's like nothing, like her brain, I think it's it is a Zen thing for you. Like to see you deconstruct them and put them back together. It's like relaxing. Tetris.
It's so relaxing to me. True. But one of the things that I also do to keep myself motivated is I've learned to hack my brain with music. So there are different types of music that allow me to do different things. And so instead of watching TV, if I had it my own way, like my entire life would be like a soundtrack. Like think montage music, right? You know, when you're watching that movie and they're like, okay, I got to put some work in. And then that song kicks up with like the kick and beat. And you're like, and they're just getting it done. And at the end, they like fall out on the couch and they're like, woo! All done, and I got that promotion, right? That whole thing. Well, the interesting thing about music is it doesn't quite work exactly the way it does in cinematography, but it actually does help me stay motivated. I know when I need to be hyper focused that I will use meditation music. If I need to be like get some stuff worked out really quickly and like kind of just keep moving forward, then I'll do party music, dance music, because it makes my body go, it makes my brain go, it kind of gets things going. If I need to be relaxed and paced and kind of just so, then I'll actually put on big band 20s jazz music. So your Ellas and your Bing Crosby and all those things. So it just really depends on kind of what mood I'm trying to set. And then sometimes I'll just put on waves, like I gave Andrea as a tip when she was having a hard time not being able to go out. I'll put waves on. And so really kind of changing the sounds around me help me stay like encouraged and motivated, because sometimes my brain wants to check out. And so those little tunes that I can sing along to sometimes will allow me to check out in between and keep me kind of moving forward in what really needs to be happening in that moment. So that is a little hack that I know my husband and daughter are very familiar with, and, you know, close friends, because I'd be like, put some music on, it'll change the whole thing. It's my go-to prescription, but it really does help me stay, you know, encouraged. Not to mention that I read, well, I listen to my books all the time. I very rarely have a time to actually like thumb through. Well, that and my eyes are tired by the time it's time for me to actually read. So I listen to a lot of books that kind of are in not the same business that I'm in, not the same kind of context that I'm in. So I can like hear thought leaders from different territories that can give me ideas on what I'm doing. And just being surrounded by like awesome, dope people like these two. I mean, I wish y'all could have them all the time like I do, because if you had these two in your corner, kind of rooting you on, cheering you on, and having your back, you too would be like completely inspired and keep moving forward. And it's really nice to be a part of a community like this. So that is us staying inspired. Do you feel more inspired, lady?
I said what she said. Yeah.
She said what she said. Yep.
What she said.
All right. So next up, we are going to get into our networking of it all. So we wanted to talk about in our connected conversation today about when we're dealing with the experts in our lives, how can we really kind of get commitment, respect, and accountability going? And this is really kind of important, right? When you are building that team of experts that surround your business, or putting or hiring people in your company. We call it the team of experts because as a trainer and a consultant for 20 some odd years, solopreneurs always say, I'm a solopreneur, I don't have a team, it's just me. And the reality is we do all have teams, because there are other people who provide services to our businesses that they don't consider as a part of their team, which is a detrimental mistake, right? If you're not thinking of the people that you are hiring as an extension of who you are, then you definitely will not get the results from them that you're looking for. So when you're thinking about, I need to make flyers and I need to go down to the local printer, that's your print department, and they are a part of your team, right? When you're talking about, I want to hire someone or a virtual assistant or maybe a marketing company to help me get my products out there, they're a part of your team too. And so it is a detrimental mistake for solopreneurs, especially, to not consider these people as a part of their team. Because they are humans as resources. And so, ladies, I want to kind of talk to you guys about the commitment, the accountability, and and kind of what your experience has been in kind of creating these teams, and what that looks like in your own business.
Who goes first?
You go first.
Person who spoke first, I know.
Andrea.
I just knew that. That's why I was like, who's going first? Well, Marcia and I were both like, well, okay, so absolutely freaking you have to think about every person that comes in contact with your brand will represent it, will identify you with that relationship you've established. And so, one, you as the business owner needs to first define all the people that touch you, help you be you. Like, what are they? Who are they? What are they doing? Like Monica said, the print person, right? You're just like, oh, I went down to Copies for Less, or I went to like Kinko's and I did it, you know. But if you went in there with a smile and you're a good person, they see you, you're regular, they're like, hey, they greet you by name, you ought to be able, as part of your MO for your business, at least this is what I think about with my brand, identify with them, say, hey, it's good to see you, like have some kind of rapport with these people, because increasingly rapport is just going out the window. And they will remember that. And that small little thing, just like saying their name or connecting with them, like, how's it going? I have found, like with my UPS people, the people that have, you know, where I have my mailbox, or just the simple things, I'm so grateful that they're open, they're letting me in. I'm always like, they're like, you're always so full of sunshine. I was like, you know what? Because we all need a little bit. And even if I don't feel like it, you deserve the fact to know that I am so grateful that you are being out there doing this for me. So there's that commitment in that respect that goes really far with me. So if someone's working with me and they are working on a project with me, yes, I need to know what's going on with their lives, staying in touch with me, keeping me abreast of things that might be getting in the way of you getting me deliverables goes a long way for me going, I got you, let's just push it back to this, or let me check in with you here and we'll see how I could maybe help facilitate getting that moved forward. And when that isn't there, things go haywire, right? Like you're like, what's going on? Like, why aren't we having these things? And so that gets to that accountability part. And I think, you know, when you're a solopreneur, you're so used to doing it by yourself. It's a win for you sometimes, and sometimes it's to your detriment, because one, you think, oh, I can do it all by myself. I got this. I don't need to involve them. But then when you need somebody, have you really honed your own skills to let them know what you need and when you need it by? That, I think, is the biggest ownership thing that, you know, I'm still growing into, is like making sure people understand exactly when I need something and by when, and creating enough space for everybody to feel comfortable in that model. It's something I am really conscious about these days, and I think it's going to serve me well to always have that foremost in my mind moving forward, because like Monica said earlier, you can't take people's time for granted, and you certainly don't want your time taken for granted. Right. So what they say, there's a golden rule, do unto others as you would do unto you. I think there's a platinum rule: treat people the way they ask to be treated. Right? A step over that is that if I say to you, I need you to get back to me and please fill in these blocks, then please fill in the blocks, because your attention to that tells me you hear me, that you are very conscious that you would like to deliver in this way so that I feel taken care of. And let's face it, we're human. We want to feel taken care of. And the more we can do that as the business owner, with not just our customers, because the people that work with us are another type of even more important customer that you have to keep happy if you would like the product coming back to you to be infused with that energy. I know that was a long answer, but it's really important to me of late. And I am now making that a conversation with everybody that I work with. So
yeah,
timely subject, very timely.
I think most business owners, obviously we don't want to have to think of the bad times, right? Of when things kind of go left in a business relationship. But I think when they do go left, having, like how you were saying, is kind of like reflecting on, okay, wait, did I hold them accountable earlier on versus later in the process, right? Were they truly committed to my project in the way that I expected them to be committed, or were there signs that there was no commitment there, or I was a lower priority on their list of things to do? And then, basic respect things of, did they reply back to my email? Am I, being kind of serviced the way that I want to be serviced, but then also vice versa, right? Like I know I'm guilty of not checking my email enough and being slow to come back around. Really kind of hazard of being a busy person, right? And so, but that can be disrespectful to the other person on the other side. And so I think you're absolutely right in kind of like reflecting about kind of what it is your responsibility on that side of relationship, as well as what the other person's is. Marcia, what about you?
Can I just add one little thing before Marcia, because Marcia's going to say some other great things, and it is part of your serious business strategy. Like everybody listening, it is as important as your client strategy to have your vendor/provider strategy.
And that's one of the things that we kind of teach in MinkLife Motivation. It's why it's literally one of the 6 key factors in maximizing your business. This is an area in which it can make or break your business if not done well. So when we go through the action planning and the processes with MinkLife Motivation, we really do kind of focus on those 3 things: commitment, respect, and accountability, and what you're going to do in order to kind of identify what that looks like. Marcia?
So I totally forgot the question because it was like, okay, it was a long question too. And
right.
But
so
can you repeat it one more time?
Yes, absolutely. So as we are talking about, having commitment, respect, and accountability in dealing with humans as resources in your business, kind of what are your strategies for your business in making sure that you are, having that mutual respect and commitment and accountability?
So the thing, I think one of the main things is making sure that everyone is aware of the vision, the purpose of something, whatever project it is or whatever. Also, to go back to Andrea, what Andrea was saying, the strategy, like looking at vendors and people outside of your organization that help you get jobs done, you should really be considering them as like, team members. And with that, it's important that they think that, but that they know who your brand is, who your business is, so that they can better serve you. And just having that guidance and direction for them to see. So, okay, so here's one thing that I have to say. I have this thing about the business model generation by Alexander Osterwalder or Osterwalder. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and Yves Peigneur. So these guys, they have this business model map, and it tells it goes from who is it that you're serving to the revenue generation, how you're going to make money, and then the people, your partners, which can be inside or outside your organization. See, those things are really major to see, because how else will you get stuff done? So that, that's basically the people, the main things is that they're aware of the vision and the purpose of the project, and that everybody's on the same page. And so sometimes inside, so like I like to deal with like the inside out. So I like people to see like who is, okay, so like let's say you're dealing with a printer. Okay, so your values need to align with when you're relating to other people other than just your customers and your team people. It's important to see that they relate to your values, when you're relating to other people. So I think that's the main thing, that is being aware of your values, your mission, your vision, your brand promise. Those are things that will really are rock solid for your business and to reaching out to other people and to, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with both of you. So a little story. So there were a couple of times that I had hired vendors for my company, and they said they did this particular service, and they were perfectly likable, they were perfectly trustworthy, and they were specifically saying that they did this service. And when I invited them to do the Red Week, which is what we call the first session of each module. And in working with them during the Red Week, I realized that what I had hired them for and what they were actually passionate about were two separate things. Mm-hmm. They had this job that they knew they could do, this skill set that they knew that they could do. And so, yes, when applying for what I was asking to have done, they were 100% like, oh yeah, I can do that and I need money. This is great. What I had found in that experience, though, when it came down to actually doing the work, there was substantially less enthusiasm to actually do the work that I was asking them to do, versus when I had people go through that same process. And what I had hired them for was in direct alignment for what their long-term vision for their lives were. Once that was in alignment, then it seemed as though they were like easy to do the work. They actually would go above and beyond what was actually asked of them. They would give me input and feedback and just really be like, we got this. And they were so kind of committed to what we were doing and so committed to the dream that I had for my own business. And so what I say that to say is respect is important and accountability is important, but that commitment to your the goal needs to be driven from the person you are bringing into your team. It needs to be driven from them as like, we are mutually getting the exact same thing we want. You're furthering your mission and I'm furthering my mission, and we are going to be successful together because we're doing things in our own wheelhouse. We're doing things that already make us excited and amazed and happy and extraordinarily, like, it's fun. And working with people who are working in their space, and you get the opportunity to respect that they are the expert. You get the opportunity to actually feel like, okay, my project is in good hands. You know what you're talking about. Let's make it happen. And you can kind of alleviate some of the micromanagement tendencies you might have because you feel like you're completely confident with the other person's things. And then those accountabilities are easier to maintain because you're not beating them over the head to do something that they didn't necessarily want to do, but they're willing to do because they need to pay some bills. But more so like, this is my passion, this is my expertise, this is what I love to do, I can't wait. And when you can get that in together, right, in the same space, then it creates this magic that those mutually authentic, mutually benefiting relationships, when people see it, they're like, I don't know what's happening there, but there's some chemistry and y'all are really kind of in sync. So that is really kind of how I view this, humans as resources. I always want to be working with someone from their core passion. And one of the things that we do at MinkLife Motivation is try to figure out what that is, right? Our tool is designed specifically to help you figure out what it is that you're trying to do, and are the actions that you are taking really aligned to your vision, so you don't make those decisions of, I'm going to just do this because I have a paycheck coming. But more so, I'm going to do this because I get set on fire. So just like me, anytime I get in front of a PowerPoint and someone's like, can you make this PowerPoint for me? I'm like, yes, darling, let's do this, right? I can really listen to being in the PowerPoint moment of it all, and helping people kind of dissect their programs and aligning it so that they're getting the best results. It allows me to do that because that is what I am passionate about. That is what it aligns directly with my own commitment. And there's this mutual back and forth that happens from it. Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
Can I just make one point? I just want to make a real quick point, because you guys, here's something I found with a lot of business owners. I've seen them bring people in that may not have, where the people didn't have the per se skill sets to do the jobs, or they just, the people that they brought in, it was like they just weren't, like you said, passionate about it.
Mhm.
So it's like so important that we do find people that, you know, that will get on board, like share your vision, share where your company is headed, so that they can get on board, because people just want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And they want to, listen, the key point is part of something. They want to be a part. We're humans. We want to be a part of something, especially like bigger than ourselves. So
Absolutely. Okay, so with that, we have to move on from this particular part of the conversation. That was so much fun. We have so those of you who don't know, for the last couple of shows, we've been doing the hot seat, and the hot seat is all about figuring out a viewer's needs and wants. And so we have, from a couple weeks ago, Eva from Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry, it's coming to you a little late, Eva, but I hope this will still help. I'm a restaurant owner, and I don't want to lay my team off, but we kind of need to save some money because things are a little bit tight because of the coronavirus. What are some creative ways to keep my team and save some money? And so that is the conversation that we're going to have today. So I'm going to start with Marcia first this time. Marcia, what are some ways that she can actually keep her team and save some money in this time?
One way, you guys, and to get people, like the people that are in positions, have them develop the systems, review all the systems that they're responsible for doing. And then have them develop those systems out. Okay, here are the problems that this position has. You know, here's how we can solve it. Have them help co-create literally your business. You know, so because those people know better than you do per se, you know, because they're in it every day, you know, in those positions every day. So they see, you know, the ins and outs, the wrongs, you know, of a job position. Let me see, what else do I say? That's like more reviewing the business of you guys. I had to write notes. I had to, because this is like so important. Also, they can create social media strategies, you know, for your business. Perhaps like, okay, you're a restaurant. Okay, perhaps you can have them like maybe, I don't know, do a tour or something like that, or even discuss why the business is so awesome. Why do you love working there? Have each of the employees do that. And of course, you know, you're going to cut hours. You're going to have to cut hours so that you can keep them still, you know. But those are like two things that they can do to actually, that you can keep people on, because that leaves less stress for you to think more strategically about those positions and filling them and improving your business systems. That's
Yeah, I believe we actually posted an article earlier last week that was saying just that, right? Where
I didn't see that.
a business owner had actually asked the team, like, "Hey, I need to make cuts, right? Because I can't afford to keep you all on, but I want to keep every last one of you. What can we do?" And some of the employees just like opted, like, "Hey, you know what? I'm doing really good right now. I don't actually need this extra money right now. And just so that we can get through this part, I'm willing to take a small cut to my own salary to help those who maybe aren't in a good position." Or people opting like, "You know what? I need to be at home more with my kid anyway. So maybe I'll take an hour cut, because then at least I can be at home with my kids. You know, these distant learning or this schooling." So I love your idea of kind of asking the employees to kind of chip in on ideas on how to actually cut the, you know, how much the expense of the business is, so that they can keep their jobs, right? Andrea, what about you?
I like all of those ideas, and especially, I mean, bringing it back to them, looking like I am the owner. However, I support you too. So what will support all of us from your point of view goes back to that it's a mutually beneficial relationship, right?
Right.
And so tactically, I was just thinking, I don't know what kind of restaurant she has, but I love the idea of, because I've had a couple of places local to me have their, not, they haven't had their employees, but they've done a really good job saying, you know, we'd love for you to come in and show us your support by doing X on social media. And so, or, you know, they're putting their things on social media. So people are like, right, if I'm going to go out, take out to eat or whatever, let me go to this place. And so having the employees sort of think about how do we make takeout just a good, you know, as a positive experience for our consumers and for us, so that we're all here doing what we do. And it brings me to, I went yesterday to a kayaking socially distanced birthday party. If you're in a kayak, of course you're socially distanced. Took my kids to this, right? And I have one kid who wasn't invited because she's younger, so we had to take her to lunch. We went to a restaurant. And it was the first time, because in California, we're finally able to go inside a restaurant, and they've cleared out all the tables, and they leave. If they had 25, they're only left now with 5 or 4, right? Or some weird little number. And then everybody else is on the sidewalk in the open air, right? And I'd never been to this place. It was a Yelp review. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And they're like, we have a table on the inside. Like, are you up to that? And I was like, I looked inside and I said, oh, 4 tables. Yeah. I mean, how we can't be, we're socially distanced. But when I watched inside of that restaurant, it caused me to do 2 things. That wasn't a family owned restaurant. There was an owner maybe, but the people there were so committed to each other. I think I sat there and I got verklempt because they were working their heart out, so much so that not only was I motivated to go talk to the kitchen staff that I could see from my table and say, thank you for such a lovely meal. And they were like, that's weird. I saw 2 other people do the same thing. Now, either because 1, we're just grateful they're open. 2, I was happy that that owner stayed the course, right? And I said, oh, this has been great. And he looked so happy. Like, it was just a little exchange of appreciation. The cooks were like, I can't believe the people are talking to us like this today. We were like, yay, you know, and it's that little thing. And I think that you as the employees and the owner telling these kind of stories about how you're sticking together is going to buy you a lot of love, and people are going to go through you and stick to you through thick and thin because you stayed the course as much as you could with all of those parameters that were that were physical obstacles for you doing business. So the value in that is huge. And to the point where if I go back to this area, I'm going to go back there again. I just want to see how they're doing. And I want to be grateful that they're still there. So
yeah, I kind of echo that sentiment. Andrea and I got to sneak out on a date with each other once, one time in this entire 6 months, and we were at a restaurant as well, and we were seated, of course, outdoors, social distanced and all that. But what I noticed was that the manager was actually outside. Everyone was sweating profusely because, you know, the whole restaurant, which was usually indoors, was now outdoors. They were sweating profusely. And the manager kept walking around to the bus boys and the waiters. And they were saying stuff like, have you drank any water? Please drink some water. Make sure that you are staying hydrated, and just kind of checking in. And that made all the world of difference to me as a customer, because, you know, it was a really nice restaurant, and typically really nice restaurants don't necessarily you don't see them treat their staff that way. But to see that, I was like, well, you know, at this point, no matter how much it is, I'm definitely coming back to this place because they really care about their people. And so, you know, we are having this whole conversation about leveraging humans as resources. And I think, you know, having your team really kind of stay committed and stay like connected to what you're doing are little things like that, just making sure they're okay. So when we first programmed this particular talk, we were supposed to have Rylan Classine on, and Rylan is a good friend of mine. We are a part of the Downtown LA Team Referral Network chapter together. And he had this lovely thought, which is why I was like, excited to have him on to talk to you guys. And he was like, well, sometimes it's not the money that people need. Sometimes it's the things that come with the job that they actually need. And so, and one of the things that he does is he provides employee benefits, right? So like healthcare, life insurance, those things. And so another thing that you might be able to do is really kind of actually look at your employees and ask them like, hey, what part about this job is the most important to you, right? And asking them what their priorities are, because it may be cheaper just for you to keep them kind of employed on a lower level of hours, but keeping their benefits at the same level. And you can actually save some money there. Or they might say, I don't need the benefits at all, I just need the money. And you can kind of then kind of create this custom experience with them so that they're getting what they really need in this time of need, because being employed is important, but for some of us, you have family members who need to stay on health insurance. You have people who need or who are reliant on these kinds of benefits. That might be the highest priority for them. And so maybe if you can keep them on their medical benefits, but maybe cut their pay, that is still valuable to them. And it would be worth it for a short period of time, of course. I mean, we don't want to exploit people's wages, but if what their needs are really just the benefits, maybe they have another spouse who works full time, but their employee package is really kind of keeping the reason why they're doing the job. Having those open conversations with them about that could be a good way for you to be able to slim the fat for a little bit, keep them employed, keep them, locked into those medical benefits, especially during a pandemic, no less. It's really kind of one of those nerve-wracking things to not have insurance and to have, a deadly virus floating around. And so that might be another way for you to be able to kind of slim the fat a little bit and also help your employees. Yeah. So are there any other thoughts, ladies?
I think we covered them. I mean, we all have to be creative. And it's instead of being the Lone Ranger, it comes back to we're in this together. Let's get through it together. So it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any questions, next week we will be talking about how to keep morale up while working remotely. I know a lot of us have been there's this new phrasing called long haul syndrome, where they're talking about how, like, because there is no actual definite end to this pandemic, that's kind of creating some interesting psychological things. And so if you have any questions about how to keep your morale up, please submit your questions at minklifemotivation.com/live. We will be happy to answer your question on the show live, so you can get that feedback. Or if you actually want to come in and hang out with us on the actual call, we are still open, available, and welcoming for you to actually have a face-to-face conversation with us. Don't be shy. We don't bite because we're virtual. And with that, I wanted to take a moment for us to kind of talk about our announcements. So we'll start with Marcia this time. Do you have any announcements? How can people connect with you? What can they buy? What can they, how can they just be a part of the Marcia McCray world?
So right now, within the next couple of weeks, I will be doing the Build Your Brand webinar, workshop. I like to say workshop because it's really work. And that can be found at www.thebrandnakedagency.co/workshops. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, and if I have been privy to that particular workshop, I have also worked on those PowerPoints.
Yes, she has.
I can tell you.
Tune in just for that. Right? It's spectacular. It's a beautiful it's a beautiful workshop, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I can definitely tell you that if you are struggling with kind of identifying what is your brand, Marcia does a fantastic job of really kind of laying out what the fundamentals of your building blocks are to building that brand in that workshop. Okay, Andrea, what about you? What you got going on? How can people connect?
Well, I just sent a note to a friendly little elf out in Facebook land to put the link inside because I can't repeat it all. However, if you're so curious to know what I do when I'm not here on MinkLife Motivation Live, I'm hosting, and I'm actually starting a detox and rejuvenation cleanse coming up this Friday. It's kicking off. And I just last Friday, I had a webinar for people to get used to the way I approach this reformation of your health and like optimal health. And so if you go to the thing that's in the chat on the, like underneath this live, it's a paper bell package in it. There's a little link. So before you decide, you can actually watch that webinar and see if it's something for you. And of course, get into the realm of things and sort of let me know if you want to be there. And I'd love to have you. I do these pretty much. This is the next to last one I think I'm going to be doing for the year. And of course, I'll be taking all kinds of people in the new year because they're going to be like, oh my God. But if you want to go into fall, I like to spring into fall with more vigor and just a better sense of what's going on in your body. I mean, we're all sitting home. We do need better strategies for how we're living and what we're eating and how we're feeding our mind, body, and spirit. So that's what my detoxification and rejuvenation cleanse does. And I'd love to have our listeners pitch in and see if it's something they'd like.
Absolutely. I will vouch for it.
Me too.
We did it the first round. We did it the first round, and it really kind of just had you rethink some things. And we did not starve. I promise you, you will not starve.
Oh, there's plenty of food.
Lots and lots of food. I've never been on a cleanse that had that much food. My mom was the constant cleanser, faster like person growing up, and we like you almost feel like you're eating gourmet food because you kind of get back to the basics. And I'm still eating the same way that we kind of
Me too.
started. Yeah, that we started on the cleanse. It really was a great reset. And I will say that I had way more energy and focus after doing the cleanse. I don't know, I don't know the science behind it, nor do I need to, but I know that that I was able to focus. I had to force myself to go to bed every night because it was like, no, you have to go to sleep.
It's true.
So we can get up and play again. So
I have not taken vitamins, you guys, since before. That was in May. Wow. I've not taken any vitamins because I'm getting it from the foods and
just lifestyle changes, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So happy.
Absolutely. Lifestyle changes provided by MinkLife Motivation Principles.
But yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And so I wanted to share. So it's conference season in MinkLife Motivation. And so our announcement today is really kind of about, we are calling all dynamic speakers. We need professional support experts to help us basically with our conference. And so without further ado, I want to explain to you what is happening in our world. So we are struggling right now. We're desperate for answers and looking for help. And it is so important for us as all of this chaos is happening with school closures and elections and the market's up and down and up and down. And we are all really just kind of looking for answers. And so at this time, we all need to figure out what is next. And if you haven't figured it out yet, next is our next global virtual conference. It is time to level up ourselves, our businesses, our brand, and our world. 2 full days of dynamic speakers who will be kind of changing the lives of these people who are coming to our conference worldwide. We are having speakers from everywhere. So it is time for us to level up in our businesses, in our brands, in our lives, and in our communities. And with the next global virtual conference, what I want you to do, if you are a dynamic speaker, please add your voice to this conversation. People need to hear from you. They need your expertise so that they can get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge. And you need to be a part of the conversation of what comes next. And that is October 24th, 25th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and passes do go on sale October 1st. And what I will say is, if you are in a time zone that is inconvenient, you are in luck. We are selling passes So you will be able to actually see it when you wake up and see the replays of all of the breakout sessions. There's 24 breakout sessions, 24 panel discussions to help you figure out what's next for your life and business. And so don't worry about if you are coming from a crazy time zone. If you are a speaker in your area, doesn't have, you know, that time zone is a bit interesting for you. We'll be working with you and your community to make sure that they get the information as well. I'm super excited. As usual, this is, you know, one of our signature events that we have. And so with that, next week on MinkLife Motivation Live, we are getting all into the brand. So Marcia will be back to join us in the conversation about branding through company culture. She talked a little bit about it today, but we will really kind of dive a little deeper into it next week. And really kind of closing that funnel out for you. We're going to build your brand one brick at a time. And with that, I want to give special thanks. And I believe these names may or may not be accurate, because I don't think I changed this, but I do want to give special thanks to Rylan and Burke for being available last week and having those technical difficulties. But I also want to thank Andrea and Marcia for, you know, always being my ride or dies. I love you. You are amazing. The audience, if you've been checking in, I appreciate all those text messages and messages about, hey, are you going live? Thanks for letting me know that you were there and watching, even if you are silent on a regular basis. So thank you so much. And the last thing I want to leave you with is sharing is caring. If you've enjoyed this conversation, it is super important for you to share it. We do this every week for free and live so that you can know better in your business and you can get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking and gain knowledge. But what is it without sharing? So I want you to make sure that you share and like this video, give it to anybody who you think it would be beneficial. And once again, I'm Monica Henderson with MinkLife Motivation. You have choices, choose to be great. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.